Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at 10 TV. My name is Malaki Vilodera, and today on the Solution segment, we are carrying over that conversation that Andrew Chamagero had with you on ground on social health, beauty and health. So in studios, I'm joined by Dr. Richard Kalunji. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
Let's talk about this issue of beauty. There's pressure, man, especially in this century. And the biggest culprits are the women. Be it hair, skin color, you know, all these things. There's a lot of pressure, even with how we are formed. There's a lot of pressure to alter how we were created by God. Let us in on that pressure and where it's coming from. Why are we seeing this, and why do you see this on a day-to-day basis, even with your patients as a doctor?
Thank you very much. As I came in, I was watching some of the responses and views of the people. I was actually almost getting scared for my life. I was like, is it a wise thing really to discuss this on TV? Yeah, but what the views that were coming through show you really what the perception is out there. I don't know if the reasons or the pressure are best explained by us, the medics, or rather by actually you people out there in the community. But since we stay in the same community, I think it's quite prudent to talk about it. I don't think it's really pressure from anywhere. I think it's a lot to do with personal choice rather than pressure. Personal choice, of course, is informed by a number of things. It may be informed by maybe what is routinely called peer pressure, that because your friends are all like this, you want to be like them, or because you've got such a person that you think has a few things that you admire about them, you want to be like them, or you've got this partner, or you've got this gentleman boyfriend and they want to marry you, but they're overlooking at the brown ladies, yet for you you're not brown, or they're overlooking at those that have huge hips or whatever, and yet you don't have. So it's I don't think it's exactly just reduced to pressure. It's a multifactorial thing. It has a number of causes, a number of factors, but it all downs down to one person and the choice they make to do a particular thing. Because it's not something as easy as let me wake up and go for a breast implant surgery,
right,
or let me wake up and go for a bleaching, or let me wake up and... So it is something that actually people at times battle with, because some of these things are changing, permanent changes to your body or to your health or to your life. So it's quite a little bit complicated, but I think it's a build-up of a number of things. Yeah,
you actually told me that it stems from a point of people trying to get psychological fulfillment and satisfaction. I'm sure you're a doctor and you've seen this, especially with the ladies. And you've told me even it's not just the ladies, even the men are affected. But when you see these patients coming to you, maybe they've just come for malaria, but you can see this in them. What are some of these signs that you point out to, and what do you advise them moving forward?
Okay, the discussion that we're having today is quite interesting, and these are the things that I love to talk about. You know, people tend to think that when you come and talk about those complicated diseases, you lose out on so many people. This discussion is important because it looks out at the other side of health. You know, health is not just coming with fever, coming with a swelling, coming with a cough. Health is quite broader than that, and we usually say that health is not just absence of disease, but it's a general well-being of someone, psychologically, in mind, spiritually, and all that. So it now plays into fashion and beauty. Sometimes people tend to joke like that medics and scientists don't have any fashion at all and are not concerned about beauty.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is something that brings in all those aspects. So if you talk about it just on the side of don't do this, when you bleach you're going to have risk of this, or when you do this you're going to have... You lose out on the people from where we're coming from, the reasons why they're doing these things.
Correct.
So you need to address them on... because some people actually do these things for business, to make money. Some people make money off how they look, off what they have on their bodies and all that. So as we address this, we realize that by the time someone makes a decision, remember where we came from the point of choice. By the time someone makes a decision, they have at least scant information of what this can bring. We have seen some short videos on social media about 1,000 ways to die. of a lady who had a breast implant, and they're on the plane, and then they get a, I don't want to use the medical terminology, it bursts out, and
was that true?
I don't know. I don't know whether you watched it.
Yeah, I saw it. Was that true?
Yeah, but
can it happen?
I think what they was trying to depict is trying to depict the effects of having certain things, but again depicting them in one way or another that may not be really communicating. Then the other one was of some pictures that were again seen going viral on Facebook and whatever, of ladies who had I think artificial. I don't want to use the word fake, because fake is rather castigating. But artificial, artificial, I think BAMS. I don't know if BAMS is okay to use on this show.
Right.
Yeah, so they had these complications of huge wounds and all that. So those are just really complications. By the time someone makes a decision to have all these things that we're talking about, and it's also important to know that this is not just about women. We have men who are equally doing these things. We have men who are going for the infamous manhood enlargement, even bleaching as well. So it's not one, it's quite going to both sides. But what I'm trying to show is that for you, by the time you see someone coming out with these things, they are coming from somewhere.
From somewhere.
Yeah, they have a story that you may not know, they have reasons that you may not know. And then you may not, it's not like all you have to do is castigate them, blame them and whatever. So what I'm saying is we as medics may not get a chance to get these people at the point of decision making. If we would, it would be better. Let
me ask you, so if someone comes to you and maybe they've been thinking about it, it's been bugging them for quite a long time, but they haven't made the decision yet, but it's something that is really bothering them, especially psychologically. Maybe it's a lady who wants to move from this skin color to a totally different skin color, maybe lighter. In terms of intervention and just helping them out, what's the first step?
I've been a little bit lucky that in my line of health delivery, I get so many people bringing consultations on WhatsApp and phone calls. And I've gotten ladies and some gentlemen who have particular issues that they feel they're not comfortable with. There are some of these skin marks that tend to be a lot. Then there are ladies who have these are flabby tummies after giving birth.
Correct.
There are gentlemen who have pot bellies and all that. So there are people who will contact you out of real hate for what they have. Then there are those, like I said, who contact you because they feel like being on the other end is better than being on this side. So usually what we do is for some that come in, because, you know, at times our health system does not provide platform for that. These are things that we tend to ignore. And yet when you look at some of these international channels, you find that these are some of the things that are even broadcasted.
Correct.
They show you how someone came in and then they talk to them, then they went for this breast change, they went to this skin, whatever. So one of the things is that for us to embrace that these things, to actually acknowledge that these things are happening, is just to stop burying our heads in the sand. And what that does is that it creates an environment where people can now freely come to ask or to consult. It may not exactly be that do this or don't do this,
correct,
but to pick really their story and stand with them. Because like you're saying, because something about the mental, you can actually talk someone into loving what they were otherwise hating. So what we usually tell them is these are some of the things that can be done. Some may be taken away fully, some may not be taken away into what we call conservative management. Some may require you to have permanent changes to your body, but you will achieve what you have, but it will not be your natural you, it will not be, so you may not equally get the fulfillment that they're looking for.
Okay.
So after we tell them all this, then still, even on any kind of disease, the decision making or the ball remains in the court of the patient or the person coming to you. And also depending on what they want to do. I've got so many gentlemen who call me and they ask, does manhood enlargement really work? Then the ladies, there's a lot of now, for sexual health, you can actually have a whole show on its own. There are so many things ladies want to do on their sexual organs and whatever, perhaps to please men or to have a better sexual experience and all that. And they ask you, do these things work? When I take this, will it really increase my whatever?
And what do you tell them?
So,
do they work?
That now takes us to another larger discussion of what these guys are using. There are products that people use. Of course, there are natural products, there are artificial products, there are beauty products. Remember, I've already talked about beauty, fashion, and
yes,
and health, and how they interlink with each other. Now, there are stories of people who have used certain things and they claim that they worked for them. The commonest today that we get is the discussion around okra and how it increases vaginal fluids and all that. But you know, for us as scientists or medics, we usually want to work with a lot of research proven or scientifically proven things to be done, to be used for whatever purpose they are going to be used with. Because in that kind of environment, you find that some people focus a lot on the positive gain. That when I take this, I'm going to increase this.
And they forget about the
negative
side.
As you get it, what are you losing, or what are you, in what way are you going to be affected? So, for things like, for example, manhood enlargement, you plainly tell these guys that there is no scientific evidence of anything that can be used to increase manhood. But a guy will tell you that, I used this and I increased. So at times, because we are not there at the other end, it's really tricky for some medics to confirm this. Then there is a whole talk about body changes in ladies, especially, that there are things they are drinking, things they are taking to increase their hips, to increase their bums, to increase their breasts and whatever.
Yeah.
We don't have critical evidence to this, and I've actually been longing to have a one-on-one with one of the ladies who is a beneficiary to this. I've not yet achieved it. But what we usually tell guys is that it is a choice that you take, and it's prudent that you take off time to know what you're using, what is in it, what in that you're using will actually affect that change. Then lastly, as we conclude on this, when you go to the issue of now the real medical, there are things that medical people do to change bodies. There's a whole specialty of plastic surgery.
Correct.
Which increases hips and all that through implants. Now, still in this case, like I've already discussed, there are equally effects or bad things that you may get because of having an implant, or things that you're going to use because even for bleaching, there are medically proven things that people can use to change their skin colors. But I understand that by the time people go for this, because these are on the medical side, it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
You may find that just to have a breast implant in one breast may cost you about 3 point something. So that may not exactly be for wananchi or for all of us that are not as privileged to have a lot. So from the views that I picked and the people that I saw on the television, they're not exactly people that may perhaps cough that much. But we need to acknowledge that there are people who are getting that. And
of course, that's why we're seeing business people taking advantage of that gap. Many cannot afford the right way, which the right way is very expensive. So businesses, now we're seeing a lot of fake products in the market. Let's now get to the consequences, now that we've already hit on where it's coming from in terms of self-esteem, in terms of psychological fulfillment. Let's get to the side effects. And what we're seeing a lot, especially with Andrew Chamagero on ground and how we interact with the people, bleaching is a great and huge thing that's happening currently. And business people are minting millions from people. And you told me it's not just women that are bleaching, even men are bleaching now. Let's get to that. Let's look at creams for bleaching and the side effects that they have.
Thank you very much. Just to pick it up or to connect it with where we stopped, we realize that people are using all this. It may not be something that we as medics may win off or stop, but like I've said, if we could get a chance to engage these people as they take on these decisions, it would really help much. So what I would say is depending on what someone uses, because you know, depending on what someone uses, you find that some of these creams have not been really proven, maybe scientific or whatever, to be working, but people have used them and they have worked for them. They have changed their skin colors. But like I said, you need to look at what someone loses, or what the problem that someone gets as an effect of using these creams. So in the artificial or in the beauty world, all these companies that are making lotions and whatever, it's not exactly true that all these lotions have problems. Some of these lotions actually can really work, and they don't have direct effects on someone, or they work and they are more or less safe as compared to some.
But what that is,
then they're exactly those that are totally unsafe because they have not even been proven. But out of the blue, you're hearing someone promoting a lotion, promoting
a
cream or whatever that you don't even know where it's coming from. But the issue may not be there because that is more or less of a policy or something issue. We may not wake up and say that we have banned this one. But now the discussion is we have come from the other end where someone made a decision out of whatever reason they had.
Correct.
They have now gone to another point of implementation. Now from the consultation of those that have used it, because usually, I've told you, by the time someone chooses to bleach, they don't wake up and bleach. They have asked around their friends, some have even Googled, like some people have Googled and they know which creams can, for example, help them lose weight, because losing weight is also another huge aspect. Some people have Googled and have seen which supplements can help them gain weight, which are the best creams to bleach and whatever. Now, there are people who are maybe privileged to even import some of these things on their own arrangement. Now, for those that are actually the many that can't afford that, are only left for what is available. Now, the point of implementation, someone is going to use something, and we look at this in two ways. Is it something that is going to cause a temporary change, or is it something that is going to cause a permanent change?
Okay.
And as it causes that, what do you lose, what do you gain? There are things which are like I've said, which are scientifically safe, and they will cause you your change that you want and cause less effect to you, that are less unwanted effects. So that if you want, for example, to turn this color to this color, you will get the color but have less side effects out of it. But now in that case, of course, the big discussion will go to the natural you versus the new you, or the artificial. So
when it comes to effects, what are some of the side effects of bleaching, especially through using creams? Because I know people also use tablets. They ingest these tablets to change the skin color. But on creams, what are some of these common side effects that people face?
The side effects may, like you've rightly hinted, depend on what someone is using. If someone is using tablets, then it goes back to what is in the tablets. The effect may not be directly instant. It may be a build-up over time.
Yes.
But for the creams, you may have direct effects to the skin through allergies, through all these reactions that people get. But they may also, the adverse, there's what we call adverse effects. Things that you get and you can't even stomach them. But the true effects are actually a build-up over time, either because of the bleaching or because of the lotions that you've been using. Now, what these do is that they are weakening your skin. They are making it more and more less natural over the years, because people use these creams or lotions for years. They don't use them for 1 month or 2 months.
Correct.
Some use them to remove dark spots and all that. So depending on what you're using, you may not exactly be having a problem today. But you realize that the biggest effect will come from you having a skin that is becoming less and less natural over the years or over the months. And
when the skin becomes thin, like you're saying, is it prone to infections as well?
No, of course, it's just like how you're in a cold and you have a huge cardigan versus one who has a light t-shirt. So the role of the skin is largely for protection, yes, but even for other things like excretion and removal of waste products and all that. So remember, where we move in tropical environments like ours, we have a lot of bright sunlight, a lot of UV light or ultraviolet radiations coming from all over. So these things are now going to find a lot more prone or vulnerable skin than it would be. But even these, they don't directly, they don't cause the effects instantly. What I want us to pick is the discussion we are talking about is not to say that this is, when you use this today, you're going to have a problem tomorrow.
Immediately. Yeah. It's gradual.
Yeah, it's over time, and also depends on what you've been using.
Okay.
But away from the skin, if you look at all the other things that people use, if for example you are born, I don't know, there used to be a discussion about sizes of ladies, size 8, size, I don't know if there's also size 1 or size whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, but when you're born and you're a petite lady, you're slender, you're small, and out of the blue, 10 years later, after we leave secondary school, we find you now with huge hips and whatever. What you're doing actually, you're putting a lot of, you're exerting a lot of pressure in an area that was originally not stomaching or taking up that kind of pressure. Because if your body has this size of breasts or bums or whatever, it's because that's what now your body can, without any kind of pressure, take up. You have found people that are not as small, but when they are climbing hills, they don't ask you to push them because they can actually take up their weight. So you're now having someone, that's why you see people who were actually originally big and fat. When they lose weight, they feel a little bit different. Or when someone, for example, now has a breast, they were, for example, having breasts this small and now they're this huge. It may be for work, for fashion, for beauty and whatever. But they will have that external or physical pressure or new pressure on them or on their bodies. And
does this pressure have other dire effects in the long run?
Of course, what it does is that, for example, if you have something pressing a lot on your hip or whatever, over time it may cause a little bit of weakness in your bones or in whatever. But these are all things that don't come instantly or just in one day. The reason I keep talking of this is I don't want to be misquoted as saying that when you use this, you get this. But if we had a chance, for example, to discuss with someone as they take on these decisions, you tell them about all this. But then you realize that when you talk of things that people put on, I understand there are hips that people just put on.
Yeah.
there are hips that are, like we've said, people who claim that they went and drank something and they got hips. Then there are also the other guys who go to medical centers or hospitals and they get this. They're told about all these particular explanations because it changes your body, and it comes with effects or shortcomings that your body may not be able to do the things it was originally.
Let's look at botched surgeries. Of course, is plastic surgery acceptable here in Uganda?
Yes, actually, I've attended the surgery of, but like I've told you, it's not very well developed here.
Okay.
You'll find that everything that you're going to use in that surgery is going to be imported. So it's quite expensive.
Okay.
The people that can afford it are not so many.
We've been seeing instances of botched surgeries. Now we know plastic surgery is acceptable here in Uganda, but of course not as developed and advanced as in the other countries. But when it comes to botched surgeries, why do we see big numbers of botched surgeries whenever there are surgeries? Is it that the body does not kind of gel in well with this artificial thing that has been introduced to it? Help us understand the science, because we've been seeing a lot of this, even with the nose kind of rectifications that happen, especially in the West. Most of this, like you're saying, gradually over time, they end up messing you up. You end up looking worse than you were before. Help us understand the science behind it. What happens? Is it that the body now rejects this artificial thing?
Of course, what this causes is many times you have something foreign being put into your body. So it's not exactly rejection, but it's about also spacing and whatever. Because, like I've already said, you had a size maybe for this size of a bum or a breast. So you now have something. Of course, these things are they're not usually dependent on what your body can take up. Usually dependent on what someone wants. Because at times you've seen ladies, especially where there's a lot of liberty in the outside world, and someone wants a breast this huge, you get it. So because the surgeon feels like they can actually work around it, because of course doctors think about your safety first, but they have to play it around what you want. Like I've already told you, we know that what you want may not be the best for you, but we know that health is not just about not having an implant, because there are people who may not have them, but they don't feel like they are full, they don't feel okay, and you may lose them to depression or whatever. So at times you do it as part of management, but this the effects that come up may not be exactly because of total rejection, but maybe because of spacing. Some of these implants, of course, vary in quality. We have had stories of some that actually do swell. We have had some that do cause discomfort and pain and a lot of pressure in the areas where they were put. Then the nose and whatever, or the skin that you, some it's about injecting of certain things in the body. Now for the chemicals, the drugs and whatever, your bodies may react differently to some of these. But again, even the new changes, like we said, you're having, it's just like how you may be building a mud and water house, and you're putting a lot of mud in a place which was really well aligned in the beginning. That new mud that you have actually put on is less weakly is more weakly, or I don't know, is weakly attached to that particular area than the one that was originally there. So it's not exactly true rejection, because you know, when we talk of rejection in science, we talk of things like people get transplants, and you get a new kidney or a new liver or part of the liver, and then your body rejects it. Now in this case we talk of things like antibodies and whatever. For these implants, it's not usual about that. It's usual about local or reasons around where it was put, not exactly generalized, but just where it was put. But then the other thing, depending on what is embedded in these implants or things that you're going to use, the chemicals, it also has a build-up effect over the years, depending on what was there in terms of the cancers and paraphias and all that.
Okay, all right. So you actually told me, as we come to a close, that there are some products that are, of course, when it comes to creams or whatever products that ladies use, that are acceptable, that not necessarily used to change any form, that are fake. So in terms of people, what did you tell people today? If I go to the supermarket, I want to get a lotion, for example, what are some of these ingredients that you need to be very cautious of? Because we know, like you're telling me, some of these ingredients actually cause cancers. So what are some of these things that you need to look out for them that don't want to bleach or change any form, but are just using lotions for the sake of using, of course, for moisturization? What are these ingredients?
I think it's not just about what is inscribed on the bottle container. There's been a lot of talk about vitamin E, because we know that vitamin E is quite very good for the skin. So, for example, someone can start up a marketing strategy around vitamin E. So we've had so many vitamin E oils, vitamin E cream. So there's no guarantee that what you're buying is actually that. But then it also depends. It's also important to know what, or is it just for routine smoothening and whatever, because people have different kinds of skin. So if you want anything, it would be very good to engage your dermatologist or your doctor to advise you, because there are things that actually advise for people who have dry skin, medically, for people who have issues with dark spots and all that, that you will safely use, and you won't get any diverse effects, because we know that we, as cosmetics, there are those that are quite dangerous to people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richard Kyagulanyi. Thank you so much for shedding Kalunji. Beg your pardon. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for shedding light. So, in case, before you take any move in terms of your beauty and health, always consult. If it's the skin, consult your dermatologist. If it's plastic surgery, get a doctor to advise you. That has been it for Solution segment. Morning at 10 TV still continues. Up next is Take Note.